A hypervisor, also known as a virtual machine or VMM, is a type of virtualization software that supports the creation and management of virtual machines. By separating a computer's software from its hardware, hypervisor translate requests between the physical and virtual resources, making virtualization possible. When a hypervisor is installed directly on the hardware of a physical machine, between the hardware on the operating system (OS), it is called a bare metal hypervisor. Some bare metal hypervisors are embedded into the firmware at the same level as the motherboard basic input-output system. It's necessary for some systems to enable the operating system on a computer to access and use virtualization software. Because the bare metal hypervisor separates the OS from the underlying hardware, the software no longer relies on or is limited to specific hardware devices or drivers. This means bare metal hypervisors allow operating systems and their associated applications to run on a variety of hardware. They, they also allow multiple operating systems and virtual machines, guest machines, to reside on the same physical server host machine. Because the virtual machines are independent of the physical machine, they can move from machine to machine or platform to platform, shifting workloads and allocating networking, memory, storage, and processing resources across multiple servers according to needs. For example, when an application needs more processing power, it can seamlessly access additional machines through the virtualization software. This results in greater cost and energy efficiency and better performance using fewer physical machines. Bare metal servers are dedicated to one client and are never physically shared with more than one computer. If that client chooses to run a virtualized platform on top of it, they create a multi-tenant environment themselves. Bare metal is often the most streamlined way to command resources. With bare metal, clients can avoid what is known as the noisy neighbor effect that is present in the hypervisor environment. These servers can also run equally well in individually owned data centers or co-location held by IT service providers and IaaS providers. A business also has the option to rent a bare metal server easily on a subscription from a managed service provider. The primary advantage of bare metal environment is its separation does not need to run inside of any other operating system. However, it still provides all of the services to the virtual environments that are necessary. Benefits of bare metal. Without the use of bare metal, tenants receive isolation and security within the traditional hyper metal. It also gives administrators the option to increase resources with the ability to add new hardware. Lower overhead costs. Virtualization platforms incur more overhead than bare metal because no hypervisor layer is taking the processing power of the server. With less overhead, the responsiveness and overall speed of a solution will improve. Bare metal also allows for more hardware customization, which can improve speed and responsiveness. Cost effective for data transfer. Bare metal providers often offer much more cost-effective approaches to outbound data transfer. Dedicated server environments could potentially provide several terabytes of free data transfer, all else being equal. Virtualized environments would not be able to match these initial offers. However, these scenarios are dependent upon server offers and partnerships and never guaranteed. Flexible deployment, um, visor infrastructure. However, the noisy neighbor effect still may exist. If one physical server is overloaded with requests or consumptions from one of the tenants on the server, isolation becomes a disadvantage. The bare metal environment completely avoids this situation. Bare configurations can be incredibly precise depending on your workload. You may be able to mix bare metal and virtual environments. Quality of service often work to eliminate the problem of the noisy neighbor occur in the bare metal environment. This can be considered a financial advantage as well as a technical one. If something goes wrong, a client has someone to hold accountable on paper. However, as with any service level agreement, this may vary on a case by case basis. Greater security. Organizations that are very security sensitive may worry about falling short of regulatory compliance standards in a hypervisor multi-tenant environment. This is one of the most common reasons that some companies are reluctant to move to bare metal cloud computing. Bare metal servers make it very possible to create an entirely physical separation of resources. Remember, virtualization does not mean less security by default. Security is incredibly complex and broad terminology, and there are many factors involved. Benefits of bare metal hypervisors. You may not need the elite performance of a single tenant, a bare metal server. Your company may be able to better utilize resources by using a hypervisor. Hypervisors have many benefits even when compared to a highly efficient and scalable bare metal solution. Choose a hypervisor when you have a dynamic workload and you do not need to have an absolute cutting edge performance. Workloads that need to be spun up and run down only for a short period before they are turned off are perfect for this environment. Backup and protection. Virtual machines are much easier to secure than traditional applications. Before an application can be backed up, it must be paused first. This process is very time consuming and it may cause the app a substantial downtime. A virtual machine's memory space can be captured quickly and easily using a snapshot tool. This snapshot can then be saved to a disk in a matter of moments. Every snapshot that is taken can be recalled, providing security and restoration of lost or damaged data to a user on demand. Improved hardware utilization. A bare metal server only play host to a single application and operating system. A hypervisor uses much more of the available resources from a network to host multiple VM instances. Each of these instances can run an entirely independent application and operating system on the same physical system. Improved mobility. The structure of the VM makes it very mobile because it is an independent entity separate from the underlying hardware. And now just bear with me, folks. Sorry now about this. Okay. Between any remote, sorry, now just bear with me just a second here. Okay, just bear with me now. Okay, improved mobility. The structure of the VM makes it very mobile because it is an independent entity separate from the underlying structure. A VM can be mitigated between any remote or local virtual servers that have enough available resources. This can be done at any point with effectively no disruption. This occurs so often that it has a buzzword, live migration. That said, a virtual machine can be moved to the same hypervisor environment on a different underlying infrastructure as long as it can run the hypervisor. Ultimate mobility is achieved with centralization, adequate security. Virtual instances created by a hypervisor are isolated logically from each other, even if they are not separated physically. Although they may be on the same physical server, they do not have any fundamental knowledge of each other. If one is attacked or suffers an error, the problem does not move directly to another, although the noisy neighbor effect may occur. Hypervisors are incredibly secure, although they are not physically dedicated to a single client. So everyone, I hope you like this video. In the next video, I'll be doing a demonstration of how to set up a virtual Windows Server 2008 virtual machine. So thanks, like and subscribe.